So you're thinking about sending a couple of books to PSA for grading comic books. I have figured out how I am going to test the waters of PSA comic book grading, and I'm going to share that information with you. What is up, guys? Welcome to the Paper Chase channel. My name is John. You guys know what to do with the likes and the subscribes. As always, it's appreciated, but this video here, I decided I'm sending books into PSA. Which ones? You're going to find out. I'm going to tell you a few books I already have that I'm going to send out to PSA. I'm going to tell you a few books I have my eye on that if I decide to pull the trigger, I'll send them to PSA, and how I'm going to approach the delicate, takeoff of this PSA comic book grading company. Now, of course, with the announcement of their start date with July 14th being it, we've heard a ton of different, feedback and setbacks that they have. But even that being said, with the label, the way it looks, I'm approaching this in a very methodical way, and I'm going to share that with you. Maybe you'll agree. Maybe you'll say, it doesn't even matter to me, John. It's all garbage. I'm not sending anything to them until I see the market numbers go up.
I'm not leaving.
I'm not fucking leaving!
And I get that. I 100% understand that. What if you're the first to tap into an untapped market? And that is what we are going to talk about today. But first, here's the thought process. Here's kind of what I'm thinking with PSA. Of course, there is no guarantee for market stability when grading comic books right now through PSA. And there's also a lot of pushback about the label and how it's going to look and things like that. So the books I'm deciding to send to PSA. One is I'm trying to take advantage of their PSA 10. We don't know yet, but it seems like the PSA 10 might be a bit easier to get. It might be a little more like getting a CGC 9.8. So how do we go about getting a PSA 10 or even testing that theory safely? So I'm looking at two things. One, retailer variants. Two, books that match the label. So just to kind of give you an example, one book I had in my back stock that was eventually going to go into a CGC 9.8 pre-screen is this book right here. Action Comics 1053. I know if I go back to my replay and the most spiked or stopped pause portion of the video, replayed portion, it's this right here, guarantee you. Yep, okay. So my thought process here, retailer incentives will get to you in the highest grade, the best condition. So if there is a shot at getting a PSA 10, it's probably going to be with some sort of retailer incentive. Now, of course, all this is up for grabs, but this is a safe way. And as you can see, the color scheme of this book as well, with the red, the white, the gold. If this were to get a PSA 10, this would look amazing in a PSA 10. And I think a lot of people would agree about the 10 factor on this book. Now, this is a gorgeous Will Jack Power Girl cover. There was a regular, and then there was a Virgin, I believe, of this book here. It came out last year. And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about here. Now, I'm not saying, yeah, you can send this book specifically, but, this is I'm just trying to give you an example of what I'm sending and the mindset that I have when I'm choosing what books to test the PSA waters. Now, the next book on my list is somewhat similar suit. I don't buy too many of these, so don't think, oh, look at all these covers John's showing. He buys booby books all the time. I don't. Happily married. Love my wife.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Pin Apocalypse. This is the first 1 in 25 variant by Sveta Shubina. And really cool cover. Of course, yeah, it's on the pinup side, obviously. That's the whole thing. But again, red, super, super high grade. This in a 10 label. Boom. I think we'll look good. But see, the thing is, even with both of these books, these in 9.8 labels would still look good as well, given the label. Now we're going to start to transition into another book that I have. I'm not going to lie. This one, the Instagram algorithms got me. This is by Tidal Wave Comics or TidalWave.com. It's a retailer. They do all these retailer special incentive variants. And this is where I really think us being on the comic side, you have to realize some of the appeal for PSA is going to be to the already existing PSA card lovers. And a lot of those card lovers are sports lovers. Go Sports, right?
It was such a bad play by Daniels. That's so sad for my team and me. I'm such a big supporter.
But one book that I had that is super high grade that I'm hoping can get a 10 is this right here, Tribute to Kobe Bryant, The Black Mamba. This is a tidal wave variant. This is an homage to Frank Miller's The Dark Knight. What an incredible freaking cover here. And again, insanely high grade. So imagine this in a PSA 10 or 9.8, whatever. But this is something 100% that a sports lover, a Lakers fan, a Kobe fan would really, really like. One of the, I myself might actually keep it. So who knows? Maybe I'm just negating the entire first to market thing by making this video. I might be. All that means is that we have to get creative with creating collectability. Think about what is appealing. Think about what would look at aesthetically. Think about what is rare. When things were printed, the likelihood that it's going to be in high grade, and create your own collectible and play the PSA market that way if you want to play it all, or again, maybe you don't care the least bit. But to reiterate, just testing the waters here, right? We're just testing the waters. Now I'm going to share with you guys a few books that I'm looking at. You can get creative with the retailer variants in the Marvel, DC, superhero stuff. But what I'm thinking about too is, what are all of these sports comics that are out there? For example, this is a really cool one. Sport Thrills number 14. This was published in 1951 by Star Publications, and this is an L.B. Cole cover. L.B. Cole, who is most famous for most of his pre-code horror work in the Golden Age, did do other comic work, and this is one. He's actually done a lot of the different types of covers in the Sport Thrills comic run. And but this one is just incredible, and it just screams, go Sports.
When everybody is around and we're swinging for long bombs away, how do we come around to know, man, this really is what it's for?
Now, these types of comics here is really just for nostalgic purposes, or for the old school, really true baseball lover, the Americana aspect of baseball. And this image right here really, really embodies that very nicely. Very, very cool book. Something I got my eye on. Another one to consider, Sports Stars number 1. This came out in 1949. This cover is done by Alan Anderson. This is just some amazing framework by the artist here. Giant picture in the background, and then the dude sliding into base underneath him. Just very, very cool visuals on this. I really dig this style of art as well. Ready for another one? This one might actually be my favorite one, just because I love this running back. This is my favorite running back as a kid. I guess would probably still be. This is Sports Superstars number 9. Barry Sanders. The dude's got rubber ankles. Barry Sanders is without a doubt in the conversation of one of the best running backs of all time. Dude was amazing. I don't know if there was ever a more exciting running back to watch live than Barry Sanders. An unbelievable player to watch. But look at this classic. This is straight 90s sports art. I believe this came out in 92. Now, there is a newsstand version of this book here, and there's only one online right now that I could find, and it's completely beat up, not in great shape. So who knows how scarce this is. This is one thing where, you have a couple of big sales, and then the floodgates might open, and then, all of these copies might come out. One person on eBay does have a lot of copies, but then after you get rid of all those copies, they kind of go pretty scarce. How about this one? Baseball Superstars Annual, number 1. An incredible Nolan Ryan cover. My son is named after Nolan Ryan. And it's not even that I was a Nolan Ryan fan when I was collecting cards as a kid, when I was a kid playing baseball, collecting baseball cards. But I don't know why, whenever my wife and I were at dinner and we're like, okay, we're having a baby boy, what's his son? The first name that popped into my head, was Nolan Ryan. And then I thought, well, okay. You're not walking around. You don't have Nolan Ryan memorabilia around your house. People are like, why him? Then I thought Christopher Nolan's one of my favorite directors, so I can attach the emotional connection to Nolan there, and it works. But anyway, Nolan Ryan, I don't think I have to really convince anybody Nolan Ryan was great. Pretty sure you guys know that. Baseball Superstars, number 12, The Big Hurt, Frank Thomas. That dude was so jacked. Frank Thomas was the most jacked dude, and then I didn't see another jacked dude that jacked until like Canseco got real big, and then Mark McGuire. Now imagine this. Imagine some of these 90s books, because again, we don't really know exactly what that PSA 10 is going to be. But what if the PSA 10 is closer to the 9.8? And what if you get some of these great classic illustrations from these classic American Hall of Famers in a case that's PSA 10?
Editor John here, and I'm putting this together. I'm throwing these images across the screen, and I'm just thinking to myself, I get that these are not the most striking covers for comic books. This is the comic book game, and we're used to art, top-notch, top-tier art all the time. But these are not that. But what my point is with all this is that there's something about the PSA brand and the PSA label in a sports comic underneath that label. It's almost forgiving the fact that the label isn't what a lot of people want it to be, and that the comic book art isn't as, detailed as Alex Ross or something like that. The two still work together. It creates a vibe and a style, and I think that is something that's cool about these certain specific sports comics in PSA labels. I don't think it matters in this circumstance what the label looks like, or even how good the comic art is. They just go very well together. It's just kind of a little afterthought that I probably should have harped on more when I was filming the video, but that's what editing's for. So back to the video.
This is exciting. This gets exciting because this is kind of where like you're in a very untapped market, a very, very untapped market, and you really don't know what's going to happen. And that is exciting. Not saying it's going to be huge. You're going to make a ton of money off of it, but it's fun. You've also got things like Michael Jordan Tribute Special number 1. You've also got Sports Superstars number 3. An all black cover, Magic Johnson. Super hard and high grade, PSA 10. Or I'll leave you with this. Another little example of getting creative with collectibles. How about the Sports Almanac Back to the Future comic book variant, the Z-Box variant, super hard to get, super rare, but would look really nice in a PSA 9.8. Or the Michael J. Fox Fame Foundation foil variant, limited to 500 copies. Sold at Fan Expo, and go for that PSA 10. That would look awesome. Keep in mind, I am not trying to push you guys to buy sports comics and even grade PSA, push people to panic buy. I'm giving you just a peek into my thought process when I go about choosing and deciding what comic books to grade, and my just new realization that I will test out PSA out of pure curiosity, and I would like to be the first to the market with some of these collectibles. So, July 14th, bring it. PSA, bring your customer service, bring your quality control. Let's see what you are all about. That will do it for this video. Books that I am sending to PSA, how I'm going to dip my toe into the PSA comic book grading waters. Tell me what you think. Is it still pointless? Am I wasting my time? Maybe. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the next page.